It has really heated up here in southeast Queensland, Australia. The last week we've had a lot of temperatures in the mid-30s, so our garden is really suffering. But I wanted to give you a tour of what is growing here in November, which is technically the end of spring for us, but really it's kind of summer now. Who are we kidding? Anyway, if you're new here, I'm Nikki and I try to grow as much food as I can in a regular suburban block here in southeast Queensland, Australia. It's a subtropical climate, so we get really hot, wet summers and we get the dry, sort of temperate winters. So we can grow all year round, but summer does become our most challenging month. So let me show you around what's growing at the moment. So we have two main growing areas in our garden. This is our backyard, and it is southeast facing. We have some challenging things happening in this area. We have some neighboring trees that suck all of the nutrients and water out of our garden beds. So we're in the process of converting this area to wicking beds, and we'll also probably be moving our aquaponics area into this zone. So it is a really good spot to grow in summer for us because we do get a lot of shade in the afternoon. So the western sun protects the area a lot. In winter it's a bit more challenging, it's a lot more shadier, so we usually grow more things out in our front garden, which I'll show you in a sec. But here I've got 4 raised garden beds, which is hardwood timber, and as you can see I've got this one here. I am emptying that one out at the moment. It's empty. I've just got some pots in there because of the tree root situation. So we were thinking of just pond lining and turning them into wicking beds, but I think what we're going to do now is move our aquaponics here, so they will probably come down. Same with this bed here, which currently has a zucchini that is growing mad. Unfortunately, I'm not getting any zucchini because the cucumber fly, it's similar to the Queensland fruit fly, is actually stinging all of the fruit before the flowers are even opening. So I'm tempted just to pull it out. In the back over there, I'm also emptying out that bed, but I do have the covered area. That there is what I do have a lot of things growing at the moment. It is actually, that's what we've converted into wicking beds already. So let's go have a look. So as you can see, it is just IBC wicking beds. We still haven't covered those. That was one of the jobs that I wanted to get done last month, but it just hasn't happened. And I've just got this flexi garden frame over the top, and I've just chucked a net over, mainly because I was having a lot of issues with the cucumber fly, and I've got watermelons growing in there. So I've got some baby watermelons and I've been hand pollinating them. I've also got a lot of capsicums in there that I was initially individually bagging, but there is a lot, so I've decided to put a net over the whole thing. Now this bed here, I just planted that out, and it's corn. It doesn't need to be covered. It's one of the things that is usually fine here for us. It doesn't really get affected by too many bugs, but I did just want to cover the whole thing because I do also have some cucumbers in that garden bed over in the corner there, and I wanted to get some of those because we've had such terrible luck this year with the cucumber fly. So I've got watermelon, which is kind of acting as like a living mulch over these wicking beds, which has been really good in terms of water retention in the area. So I've got the 4 capsicums and a bunch of strawberries under here, which is actually really liking the shade from the watermelons. I've got a few watermelons that have set, which I'm super happy about. And yeah, I'm gonna normally I pick a lot of my capsicums green because it does produce more fruit, but I am gonna let a few turn red because we actually like to eat those ones better. So what I might do is have 2 plants that I let the fruit turn red, and I will just keep harvesting from the other 2, so then we've constantly got a supply of capsicums. This here is my veg pod, which is currently full of weeds, and I haven't done anything with it yet. I'm still trying to decide where I'm going to put it, because if we do move the aquaponics over into this area, we'll probably need this space here to put filters and things like that. So you can see there's loads of these cucamelons which have just self-seeded everywhere, and I haven't watered it. As you can see, it got cooked yesterday when it was really, really hot, but I probably will just pull everything out and replant maybe next month. I did end up moving some of my chilies from the veg pod in preparation for doing something with it into some fabric pots. A few people recommended using those pots. They're looking pretty good considering I broke half the roots off when I ripped them out of the veg pod. But But yeah, we'll see if this one, I'm not too concerned if this one doesn't come back to life, because I do have a seedling, which you can probably see in the greenhouse right behind, ready to go in. So I might actually just cut my losses on that and put a new one in. But I did just like this was loaded with fruit. I harvested, it's a jalapeno, and this is a bird's eye. And I harvested all of the jalapenos before repotting it out, but they're looking pretty happy now. Now my potatoes are pretty much done. We did harvest a bag, one of the bags that we planted first, and we got probably about half a kilo of potatoes. But honestly, I'm not surprised that they did really terribly, because they all got absolutely cooked when I wasn't able to get out here and water as often as I would have liked when the butcher bird was swooping. So I'll be surprised if we get many out of these bags, but I will keep you guys posted when we do end up harvesting those. I actually think this is a converted raised bed into a wicking bed. Just this little section here, the rest is just in ground, which is getting affected by tree roots. I do have a pumpkin in here and it's sucking all of the moisture out of there, or I have a hole in it. I have been having to fill it up. I filled it up 2 days ago and then again this morning, and it did, there's a lot of things in there. There could be a couple of things. It could be that the pumpkin is sucking all of the water out of it. There's too many plants in there, just sucking it dry, or it could be that there's a hole in it. So I probably need to pull out a lot of things, and I think the pumpkin's the first thing that's gonna come out. So another issue that I've got at the moment is my crispy chard. I get this I think it is mites. I'm not 100% sure, but you can hear that, it's so crispy. And it usually starts with the new leaves. I thought maybe I'm overfeeding it, but I have not done anything to this garden bed whatsoever. This is my problem soil, but a lot of them, the one out the front is starting to get it as well. So I don't know if it's a mite thing or whether it's just nature telling me that I shouldn't grow Swiss chard over summer, but I always get it every year. Don't do what I do and leave things in the greenhouse for far too long and not plant them out. And it's silly because these are the pink tie egg tomatoes, and they grow so well in small pots, and I just had it in a super tiny pot and forgot about it. Then I decided to plant it out, and I think it's too far gone. I think we've lost it. The hydro capsicums look pretty good. This white powder is actually diatomaceous earth because I had an aphid infestation, so I've just sprinkled that over because it has been hot. Normally I wouldn't do much at all. I usually only do things if it's dire in here because I don't have a lot of beneficial insects coming in because we're in a greenhouse situation. I just put some diatomaceous earth over it to get that under control. I do need to dump the reservoir and redo it because I've put too much nutrient solution in there. I think I spoke about last month about setting up more hydroponics again, and I forgot that I had this crack key system. All of these here we've already harvested the lettuce from. These ones are due to come out, but basically you just fill it with once and then it uses the water for the life of the plant. So with lettuce it works really well. I haven't really used it with anything else, to be honest, but it's a sort of good set and forget, and it's been able to give us a lot of lettuce when it's been really hot. So I think I will continue this over summer. And their only problem is they're all ready at once. So like these all need, like this one here is bolting to seed now already with those hot days. So I just wanted to show you the ginger that we've got going at the moment. I've upped how many I'm growing this year because we discovered old school ginger beer. It takes a lot of ginger to keep the bug alive. But here you can sort of see I've got this one that's sprouted. So this is from the pot that I harvested this year back in May or June, I think it was. I have a short on the harvest, but I got about 2.5 kilos out of a pot, which was slightly larger than what these bags are. These are 20-litre bags. I'd say the pot that I harvested from was probably around 40 litres, so double. But this is the one that I just left in that pot and I've replanted in here. And these ones here have 2 sort of tubers each pot from ones that sprouted on my bench. You can't really see it, but you can see it's just a little teeny sprout. We get our winters are quite dry here. I think it's okay for you to leave your ginger in the ground. It's not going to rot. If you are in an area that does get a lot of water over those cooler months when it's dormant, you might find that you'll lose ginger if you leave it in the ground and it will rot. A way of keeping it, storing it, is actually putting it in some damp sand and keeping it out of the weather. But here in Queensland, where our winters are dry, it's usually okay to just leave in the ground. So this little pot here is the ginger that I left in. So this one is the one that I will be harvesting next year, all of. And you can see the difference in growth of this by just leaving it be and not messing with it. I think that that is the reason why we get bigger harvests on that second year growth. But I will experiment with harvesting some of the grow bags, the extra grow bags that I've got this year, and just seeing how it goes. And the plan is to get some more grow bags when I harvest this out to get this variety, because this is a different variety as well. This one I think is called a jumbo ginger. The other one's just a standard one that I probably got from the markets. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, that's my strategy with ginger. So harvest every 2 years, but have two lots on rotation, so it's a harvest every year essentially. Well, here is aquaponics, which isn't really aquaponics at the moment because we don't have any fish. We harvested them all and put them in the freezer just before winter started because we grow barramundi over summer, and if we do have to continue growing them over winter, we have to put a heater in. We have taken the fish out. I did put some hydroponic solution in there, not much, not enough for the amount of water that was in there, and I didn't sort of monitor it. Because we are going to be moving this potentially, I haven't done anything with it. Everything that is in there is self-seeded, which is mostly Tulsi basil, so the holy basil. There's some turmeric that's popped up the back. There's even some celery, and there's some Malabar spinach, which is popping up everywhere. So we really need to get in and do a really massive clean out. The clay beads are just disgusting, and relocate it and set it up again and hopefully get it going again. It's hard because it is so good over summer when everything else when it's just too hard keeping up with water with the rest of the garden. It's really good to have this because lettuce grows really well in it. But I don't think we will have this going until probably next year again. So we'll see how we go. So this is our front garden, which gets the most amount of sun year round. It is better for winter for us. It gets a little bit too hot in summer, so we're going to see how it goes. But basically we've got 8 beds out here. They are all of the corrugated iron birdies beds, and we've got a bunch of different sizes. We've got 2 1.2s by 2.4s, then we've got 4 of the little 90 centimeters by 90 centimeters, and then the ones sort of in between, they're 90 by 1.3, so just a little bit bigger than the very small ones. So this one being one of the larger beds here, this is one of the 1.2 by 2.4. We have got a green manure crop going in here. This bed did really rubbish over winter. I had a lot of issues with it, so I decided I'm just going to put a green manure crop in here and just really sort of rest the bed. As you can see, it's probably past the point of green manuring. It's gone to flower, but the bees have been loving the buckwheat flowers, and I've kind of felt a little bit bad about taking away their food. So I will probably in the next week chop this down and cover it in some black plastic and just let it really break down before we can plant out again in probably February or March. It is really preparing for our optimal growing season of autumn. On the arch here I do have some cucumbers. These are just the straight 8s. I've got a mildew issue here obviously. I'm not normally I would get out with some milk spray or something and get it out under control, but honestly, once the humidity picks up, it's a battle that I will not win. I do have the loofah and a snake bean there. I'm really looking forward to the loofah growing over this arch. The other large bed that we planted out in September is actually really bad, and I don't know if I told you guys this, but after my last video about irrigation, someone, probably me, had left it on overnight, and this bed did not like it at all. So I lost 2 tomatoes. I've only got 2 growing in here now. I've got a honeybee and a black cherry. I lost all of my basil. It just wilted because it was just got too wet. I lost a lot of my kale as well. So we'll see if this one recovers. I think I will probably end up doing a green manure crop here if these tomatoes don't kick into gear soon. Another one that we planted back in September, which I had to replant because the bugs were eating my seedlings and seeds. So it's probably really October, this bed. I've got some beans and some corn. It is actually looking really, really bad. And I've just given it a little bit of organic extra pellet fertilizer just to give it a bit of a boost. It's just looking really yellow. So I'm looking forward to this rain that's hopefully coming next week, which hopefully will just kick it into gear, but it is getting close to flowering. I've also got an issue with my beans. These are the red roosters, which are ballotties, but look how they're sort of all bubbly. I have a feeling it's either too much moisture or something's going on with it. It could be a bug. So if anyone knows what this is, I've never had it before. So this is the purple sweet potato that we planted out last month. It is really kicking into gear. It is starting to go off. I'm going to have to come and trim that because the last thing I want is it taking over out here, which it did last year. So I'm still pulling up little sweet potatoes that had escaped from this bed and into the ground. So I need to keep my eye on that. These ones I only planted out last week. So these are the orange sweet potatoes. These are yellow because they were the ones that I propagated in the aquaponics, and it's obviously not a good space, but the green ones are ones that I moved from. Well, that one was growing there. Those ones there I moved from the other garden bed, which I didn't want them. And I've got the okra in the middle. This little biennial bed is doing okay, I guess. I've got my sacrificial cabbage, and then I've got 2 little perfect ones. So if you want some tips on how I sort of naturally manage bugs, you can check out my video on how to prepare for the onslaught of bugs. But basically I have a lot of sacrificial plants that I just leave. So normally I think people would go and pull that out, but I've just left it. I do have another bug thing that's going on here. There's lots of ants, so they're mining, I think they're aphids. There was scale to begin with, so I've just covered that in diatomaceous earth. So that's an eggplant. I haven't had any new fruit for a while, but the ants on it, usually ants aren't too bad in the garden. Usually their presence means that there's something else going on. Now my garden from August, it's just basically zucchini. The carrots, I did pull out some for my first lot of thinning, and I found that I have actually got some root knot nematode in this bed, which is interesting considering it's a new bed. So I'm not sure if I've contaminated with garden forks or what, but we'll see. But basically I think this has produced a lot of, this is a Cocozelle zucchini. Oh, see, look, all those fruit flies are on it, stinging it right now. Oh, caught you. That's my problem at the moment. I'm not getting much. Like, I'll get them to the kitchen and they'll look fine. Get them to the kitchen, crack them open, and they are just full of stings. So I am tempted I'm either gonna cover it with a net or I'm gonna pull the thing out and just forget about it. And I'm veering more towards that option, but we'll see. And this is one that I have netted because I was sick of not getting any cucumbers and I was running out of bags. So I did have this net initially on the fruit salad tree behind, and there wasn't that much fruit on there, so I individually bagged all of those so I could get some decent cucumbers and tomatoes. But it's doing really well. So this one I planted back in October. This is my October bed. But I've got loads of Roma tomatoes growing in here. I've also got loads of the little crystal apple cucumbers, which I am having to hand pollinate. Beans haven't really kicked into gear yet, but here I've got lettuce, which is doing okay with the shade that's provided by the cucumbers. And again, I've got a mildew issue, which again, it's kind of not really worth doing anything. But this one You can see there's I picked a few this morning of the crystal apple cucumbers. That one there I think has actually been stung before by a fruit fly before I put the net over it. So I am just having to come in and hand pollinate these. So what I do is I usually pull off a little male flower, which is the one that doesn't have the fruit, and I jam it into the female flower that does have the little fruit forming on it. So that's my morning ritual, and I have been getting some since doing that, and also they've been fruit fly free, which has been awesome. Now I still need to do my paths. I need to mulch them, but I do have rosellas popping up in the path, so I think I will relocate these to somewhere. I didn't save any seeds last year because this happens. I just let them pop up and then I relocate them where I want. I did plant some pumpkins in that rainbow pot, but I'm thinking I'm going to put rosella. I don't need a lot because I've still got heaps of dried rosella. It's like hibiscus tea in the cupboard, and I've still got loads of jam in the cupboard, but it is kind of nice to have when nothing else is growing. So I might put that in the rainbow pot at the back, but I'll see. But here's another Tulsi basil, which has just self-seeded. Once you've got it, you've always got it. So as you can see, I've got a peach there that is looking so close. I checked it this morning. It's still not quite right. We've gotten a couple off it already, but they did have a lesion on them that I don't know what it was. If anyone knows what this is, but I just cut that off and we ate it anyway, and it was really, really good. It was when I thought initially that it might have been a sunburn, but it was before I individually netted, so that I had a net over the entire tree. So it shouldn't have been a sunburn, but it could have been anything. But anyway, we didn't get any nectarines this year. We've had a few peaches and we've got a few plums. A little update on the flower situation, of flowers that I planted back in spring. I mean, it's looking okay. The little salvias are probably my favorite, and the snapdragons, and of course the sweet Alice. My calendula just is like, nope, too hot, I'm done. And this gets watered. This has been getting watered every day with this hot weather. And the little Queen Anne lace is doing all right too. The asters were really pretty, but there's some asters. They're really pretty, but I probably need to do them a bit better. They just fell over. And the cornflowers the blue cornflowers have been my favorite for the bees. I'll definitely just make sure that I've got lots of the blue cornflowers going. So now my backyard, which is kind of where I've got a lot of my fruit trees, I've still got the pawpaw, which is unusual. The possums might get it. It'll probably be full of fruit fly, to be honest, by the time I get it. And the coffee beans are flowering again. So it gets really dry out here because of the bamboo on the other side of the fence. We're thinking of moving our chickens out here, but we will see what happens with that. But basically I do want to try an avocado here. It does get really protected. My problem is we have clay soil, so I'd have to build up a bed for it to grow. I've killed 2 already and they're not cheap. So if anyone has any avocado tips from clay soil, whether I should just not bother or any tips, that would be helpful. I did manage to change the bait in our fruit fly bait station. There were so many dead male fruit flies. These ones do not get the female ones, unfortunately, but only the males. But it's a really good indication of how many we have around at the moment. The goals for this month is to really get the mulching done on the pathways to suppress the weeds, which is something we didn't get done last month. I also want to finish emptying this garden and put in 2 new wicking beds in this location so we can actually have something growing here. It's a bit of a waste of space at the moment. I also want to sort out the composting situation. It's something that I just haven't gotten back into since getting back into the garden again, and I know that I will benefit from having it up and running again. At the moment I've just got a few of these direct in garden beds where I need to sort of give places a bit of a boost, or where I'm planning on planting things, but I really do need to up the game with that. I do use the chicken run as a bit of a compost collection point, but we are planning on moving these girls soon, so I'm not sure what we're going to do moving forward. Anyway, that's a rundown of everything that is growing in our subtropical garden this November. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.